Hey gang, Ronin here. As you can see in this game, I am playing the Tier 8 HSF, that's High School Fleet Harekaze, which is a very fun ship to play. Ship was gifted to me by ATC Timmy. Um, I really enjoy the ship. It is, in my opinion, it's a tough ship to carry in. It does not have very much in the way of HP. You can see 16-1, and that's as good as it gets. So against other Tier 8 destroyers, it can really struggle. It has the same really sluggish rudder and kind of just lack of handling that the Kagero has, which you can see on the other team. The real threat to this ship, at least in my opinion, is something that's got decent, maybe not as good, but decent concealment and better guns. Now this ship does have the Akazuki guns, but they don't really do that much damage if you're firing AG. They do a maximum of 1,200 damage. And they reload every 3 seconds, but with only a 5% fire chance, you're going to really struggle. If I run into the Cossack in this this ship, he has his concealment is really basically every bit as good, and he outguns this thing seriously because it does so much more damage, and it also has a pretty quick reload. Now, having said that, the torpedoes on this thing, what's the running speed on these? 65 knots, I think. So it's decent if you're a fan of the European destroyer line. These are going to feel like they're moving at the speed of smell. They are not particularly speedy. In the old World of Warships, they were pretty decent, but these days they're meh. Now, I'm just going to throw some torps out kind of preemptively and hope I catch a destroyer there, just based on where the radio position finder's at. Now, why am I taking a position here? Well, I want to help spot incoming torpedoes because it looks like I've got a Mainz, Gneisenau, Atlanta, Siegfried, and maybe even the Hawk and New Orleans coming this way. And it does look like the destroyer's just kind of, oh, nope, he's moved. So chance of landing torpedoes on the destroyer pretty minimal, but I'm going to be able to get here. I was thinking I was going to be able to get into the cap, but you can see he's moved back from the cap. And there's no reason for me to stay. I'm radared. See if I can get out of radar range before anybody can get guns on me. Yep, there we go. I'm out of radar range. It was Seattle that had me radared. Now maybe he radared before and then just kind of moved forward. But I'm going to help finish him off. It's debatable whether this was a good idea for me to use this smoke here, but given where I'm at, I might be able to provide a way for some of my guys to push forward, and I am spotting torpedoes for them. And I can just reverse into the cap now. I've got torpedoes that are going to be coming back up here. I'm hoping I'll catch the Monarch as he comes around the corner. So McBodie 2019, this is probably not going to go well for you, buddy. And there's the Kagero. Now I'm full left rudder. I'm just heading back for my smoke. This thing has got 2 turrets on the rear of the ship. So even running away, the ship is able to get some guns to bear. Yeah, and the Monarch, he's in big trouble. I'm taking a little bit of chip damage, but now I'll just see if I can get some fire burning on the Monarch. He's not long for this world. He's going to fire here in a second, I'm sure. Nope, doesn't even have to fire. He's visible. See if I can help burn him down. Now these guns, they don't do well against heavily armored opponents, obviously, and they're not great at starting fires, although they can. So really, this configuration, in my opinion, is all about the torpedoes. Now you can see that presumably the Kagero is now where my radio position indicator is at. He's still in the cap, and I'm okay with him taking the cap. Atlanta's moved up. He might radar him, but I'm going to move over here where I can spot him. Because my guess is he's going to just given his position, where he was and where he is now, my guess is that he plans to try and cap Alpha and then move toward Bravo to help there. And I'm going to try and head him off at the pass. He's taken some damage. I've taken a little, but he's taken more, and I think I'm kind of in a good position. So you see his torpedoes there. And there he is. So I've caught him out here, and these guns, while they don't hit as hard, they reload much faster. I got to bring all the guns to bear. And I'm playing with the throttle here, trying to get him to miss, because his shells hurt. Unlike the shells on this thing, which are like a pop gun, his shells do a lot of damage. Now, there are other configurations with other guns on the ship, and I think it's probably time for me to start playing with some of those. These guns can be exceptionally frustrating. Because that was a situation where any other guns that reload, like if I took the US guns that reload every 4 seconds, even though there's fewer of them, I probably would have sunk him there. If I can catch him here. I'm sure he's going to try and reverse behind the island, so I'm just going to try and get around here. He's only going to have his front guns, which is not enough. And I'll be able to outgun him seriously. He can't reverse as fast as I can move forward. Now, he's trying to bring all the guns to bear, which he did. And you see he does a little bit more damage than I do. But that's it for him. Now to help with the... No, I'm not going to... That sub is already in trouble. I don't think there's any way he survives that. Got New Orleans, Vauclin, and Algerie. I'm going to get up here and see if I can get torpedoes on something. Now, the bad guys, they're in really big trouble. They're down 5 ships. We're only down 2. Now they're down 6 ships. That U-190, I knew he wasn't long for this world. We had our sub there as well as some other ships. KGB, I don't expect that he's going to stay in this little trench here. I think he's going to try and run for it, which means he has to turn out. So I'm just going to get up here and put torpedoes in the path of his turn. Now, I don't think he will just turn and run north like the Algerie is probably going to do. I think the KGB is going to try and get behind the island. But we'll see. Now, I don't have any reason to go up there. I just want to secure the cap, and then I will cross and try and help over at Bravo. Now, that Atlanta is kind of a concern. If you have ever played destroyers and faced an Atlanta, you know how ugly that can be for the destroyer. Yeah, KGB, he's in big trouble. Let's zoom in here and really get a good look at the destruction. Okay, so doesn't look like he's got any camo. Well, I mean, these days I guess you don't know, but I'm going to land 4 torps on this guy, so he's dead. And now I can go help at Bravo just to help keep things steady there. The Algerie, he's potentially in big trouble just because of his positioning. But he's got a Bismarck over there helping him, and it's Belfast and Cossack with Atlanta North for the Reds. Against Vauclin, Algerie, Bismarck, and the U-190. Bad guys are down to 5 ships already, and this is looking really ugly for them. Now, although this is a blowout, close games are really uncommon. I've had a couple in the last couple months. Most of them are like this, very lopsided. We just have a lot of very inexperienced players. Then we have a lot of other players that, even if they're not inexperienced, they just don't care about whether they win or lose. It's a pretty game visually, and they hop on here for stress release. You know what? That's fine. It's a little bit different than the game used to be, where I think there were a lot more players that looked at this a little bit more, not seriously. It's a game, but maybe a little bit more competitively, more with a mind toward, I want to try and do the best I can. I think those days, or at least the majority of those days, are kind of behind us in this game now. It's getting a little long in the tooth, and Wargaming have made their focus a lot less about competitive play and a lot more about kind of copy-paste, well, Atlanta B, Cossack B. They're just, what new thing can we sell and make money on, whether does anything for the game or not. And so many of the things that they do, in my opinion, make the game less about competitive and more about just casual play. And it's not that that's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just not what brought me to the game. It's not what made me enjoy the game. I liked that it was competitive, or at least more competitive. Now, I'm going to go square off against an Atlanta, which is really dangerous. But I'm going to have New Orleans and Baccaline here. I expect this first volley is going to hurt. You can see he's turning his guns. And I'm going to try and get some AP into him. Now, I don't really want to smoke up here because he's got a radar, but you know, maybe he's used the radar. No, we're going to find out. He's still, well, he did radar, but he got blasted. So I think, you know, it probably broke his lock on, and that's the only reason he didn't sink me there, because I'm sitting here with 1,352 HP. But, you know, it's a thrilling adrenaline rush to square off against an Atlanta very close range. Fortunately, as I said a minute ago, I had plenty of help, so he didn't have much of a chance. It's just lucky that I managed to survive it. Now, I'm expecting the Cossack to come through that gap. So I'm going to just position myself to be able to get guns on him if I'm right about that. Yep, there he is. He's turning out, so I am a little bit high. Do I catch him here? Yep. And it's all over but the shouting. It's not, I didn't light the world on fire. You know, 100 shells on target, 1 cap, 3 kills with 94,000 damage. I'll take it. It's a fun ship. If you're looking for a good premium destroyer that is a torpedo boat, I can recommend it. It is fun. And there is some, you know, there are the 3 different hulls, which can change the gameplay considerably. My thanks again to ATC Timmy for the gift. Really appreciate it. And I have really enjoyed playing the ship a lot. It's one of the few ships that I find consistently fun. As I mentioned, I don't consider it a ship that's going to be able to carry as much as it's a really nice support ship that can do some really cool things because of low detectability, decent but not great guns, and hard-hitting torpedoes. The Maya is not going to be around much longer, so I'm going to say at this point, thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.
Engine boost 解除